So in the first step, we tried to gather the raw data from the customers. Now here we are at the step 2. Here what we have to do, here we are going to interpret raw data in terms of customer needs. So customer needs, as we have already discussed, they are going to be expressed in terms of written statement and are the result of interpreting the need underlying the raw data gathered from the users that we have already discussed in the previous video. So each statement or observation may be translated in any number of customer needs. Like if they have said these are my problems, you so based upon the problem you can define or you can just number the customer needs. Then Griffin and Hauser found that multiple analysis may translate the same interview notes into different needs based upon the user's requirement and based upon the team's intellectual. The team member can consider the need into different means as well. So below are the 5 guidelines for writing the need statement basically. So the first is that express the need in terms of what the product has to do, not in terms of how it might to do it. Okay, so here you are going to just express the need of the product, what they are or what the users are expecting from your product. That is the first one. Second, express the need as specifically as the raw data. It means that whatever your users are saying, just mention as it is, don't make any changes. Otherwise what is going to happen, based upon your knowledge or based upon your interest, if you are going to change it, that will create a problem. Now comes to here, use positive and not negative phrasing. Means try to try to consider their positive statement and note it down, like what they are saying as well, right? So this is not a rigid guideline because sometimes positive phrasing is difficult and awkward as well. You just try to note down their need, whether it's a positive or negative, or don't phrase it in your own term. Then comes to the fourth point, express the need as an attribute of the product. Means what kind of features they want to have, what kind of requirements they want to have, or what kind of product specifications they need to have in the design product. So you have to mention the attribute of the product. That was the fourth one. Then try to avoid the words must and should. Why we are saying avoid the words must and should? It means that you are just going to say that you have to consider this thing. See, if one user is saying that I want this and other users are saying that I don't want this, so in your need statement don't write this must word or don't write the word should. Okay, keep it as general as possible. So that was the second step. Here you can see one example, like typical users. Here you can see what here we have mentioned the data related to the user and what was the customer statement, and based upon the customer statement we have mentioned the interpreted need. Like if the customer said I need to drive screw faster than by hand, what they are trying to do, here they are just trying to create an screwdriver. Okay, so based upon the screwdriver as a product, here customer has mentioned, customer has giving the statement and interpretation of the need is here. So customer said I need to drive screw faster than by hand. Then what you are going to mention, the screwdriver drives screw faster than by hand. I sometimes do duct work, use sheet metal screw. The screwdriver drives sheet metal screws into metal ductwork. So here whatever interpreted needs are there, what we are doing, we are just mentioning the interpreted needs in a general form so that it will be applicable for everyone. Now here we have seen the example of customer statement and how to change it into the interpreted need. Now once you are having or interpretation of need is there, now you are going to identify the needs into the hierarchy. So the result of step 1 and step 2 should be a list of 50 to 300 needs statement. Such a large number of detailed needs is awkward to work with the difficult to summarize the use in subsequent development activities because the number of needs are very high. So the goal of step 3 is to organize these needs into a hierarchical list. The list will typically consist of primary needs, secondary need and tertiary needs. See how we are going to specify these needs. The most important requirement will be considered as the primary needs. Then the important needs will be secondary, and the third one is the least important needs. Whatever they are asking, that will become under the tertiary needs. So the primary needs, as I said, most general needs, while the secondary and tertiary needs express needs in more detail. So here you are going to identify, okay, then you are going to check, or you are going to mention or print the right each need statement on a separate card or self sticky note. Eliminate redundant requirement whatever they are asking. Group the cards according to the similarity of the needs as per the user's requirement. For each group choose a label like what they are asking. Then fifth one, consider creating super group consisting of 2 or 5 groups. So ultimately what is going to happen here, you are going to just identifying the need into primary needs, secondary needs and tertiary needs, and at the end review and edit the organized the needs statement as well. So ultimately once you know that what are the primary needs, the most important and general needs, you are going to check it. Then secondary or tertiary needs. Then once you are having the needs, then you can establish the relative importance of the needs, that is step 4. So step 4 in the need process establish the relative importance of the customer needs identified in step 1 to step 2 and 3. The outcome of this step is numerical importance weighing for subsets of the needs. There are two basic approaches for this task. What are these two approaches? We are going to see. The first one is relying on the consensus of the team member based on their experience with customers. Here you will consider that your team member has considered the proper requirement. Okay, you are just trusting your team members. Second one, what it says that basing the importance assessment on further customer surveys. So here you will try to identify whether your team has identified the need properly and whether they have considered the proper relative importance of the needs as well. So that was your step 4. Now we are again jump to the next step, and that is the reflect on the result and the process. What we are going to do here, we are going to again ask the question. Remember this step of reflect on the results in the process always includes the question, like whatever steps we have considered so far, whether those steps were proper or not. So the final step in this method is to reflect on the result and the process. Here we are going to discuss with your team, you are going to talk with your team. Here you are going to have a brainstorming with your team based upon the user's feedback, and here you are going to ask some questions as well. And what are these? Like, have we interacted with all of the important types of users in our target market? That was your first question. Are we able to see beyond needs related only to existing products in order to capture the latent needs of our target customers? And are there areas of inquiry we should pursue in follow up interviews or surveys? See what is happening here, you are just asking the question again and again. You are just discussing with your team, like whatever we did so far, whether we have performed the right action or not. Then we will ask one more question, which of the customer we spoke to would be good participants in our ongoing development efforts. See, apart from this, we are going to ask two questions, two to three questions, like what do we do know that we did not know when we started? Are we surprised by any of the needs? That you have to check. Did we involve everyone within our organization means whether we have taken the internal feedback as well, or how might we improve the process in future efforts. That was your last question. So ultimately what you did here, when we are talking about the last step, reflect on the results and process, you are discussing with your team whether you have performed all these steps in a right manner or a wrong manner. Okay, so by this way you can identify whether you have identified the need properly or not. So thank you very much guys, I am stopping here with this all steps. Thank you so much.